I do believe that you can forgive someone, that you can love somebody, that you can want the best things for them and still move on without them. What's up guys, it's me Amy, and today we're doing another The AM with Amy, which is my series that happens every single Monday now, where I just sit down and I do my makeup and I talk about real topics that you guys really want to hear about. And today it's actually a very highly requested topic, which is the topic of toxic friendships. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. This question comes from Lou.we on Instagram. How do you deal with toxic relationships? How do you know when it's toxic? How do you cut off the friendship? Do you not feel guilty about it? And how do you move on from it? So also, before I get started, I wanted to mention that I never wear foundation in real life, but I get sent a lot of PR makeup. So in these videos, I'm going to be using a lot of crazy makeup that I never really wear. I never wear these three foundations that I have, which is the Giorgio Armani, Laura Mercier, and Makeup Forever. My holy grail is this guy right here. I wear this every single day. Well, when I have to wear makeup, which is not every single day. But I think today I haven't used the Giorgio Armani, which is one of my favorites. So I'm gonna use that today. I have 3 zits. Like right here, it's just like they're humongous too. I haven't been sleeping well. So how do you know a relationship is toxic? Well, I think if you're already asking that question or having even just that thought, it could be an indicator that the relationship is toxic, because when you're in a loving and fulfilling relationship, there really is no kind of afterthought that it's bad for you. Does that make any sense? So I think that's one sign of knowing whether or not a relationship is toxic. And my second thing would be anything that drains you of your energy. And this can be in several different ways. And a toxic friendship could be, it doesn't have to be draining all the time. It could just drain you most of the time. When you are celebrating your successes, is your friend celebrating with you? Or is that friend kind of comparing themselves to you? Is that friend talking down on you? I feel like I know that somebody is a good friend and is a loving friend when they are genuinely happy for me and my successes, and if not happier. So yeah, it's just when someone is just so excited for you and it has nothing to do with them, and you just know that person is good for you. There's a good quote that I want to share with you guys. It says, "Not all toxic people are cruel and uncaring. Some of them love us dearly. Many of them have good intentions. Most are toxic to our being simply because their needs and way of existing in the world forces us to compromise ourselves and our happiness. They inherently aren't bad people, but they aren't the right people for us. And as hard as it is, we have to let them go. Life is hard enough without being around people who bring you down, and as much as you care, you can't destroy yourself for the sake of someone else. You have to make your well-being a priority, whether that means breaking up with someone you care about, loving a family member from a distance, letting go of a friend, or removing yourself from a situation that feels painful. You have every right to leave and create a safer space for yourself." And that is by Danielle Kopike. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Alright, next we're gonna use the Glossier Wouter. But something very important to note that I want to say about toxic friendships is that oftentimes people think it's a one-way thing, but the main reason that I know it's a toxic friendship or relationship is that I am also being toxic to that friend. I've had probably 4 toxic relationships, 3 of which I'm on cordial and friendly terms with, and 1 of which I just don't care to make amends. But of those 4 relationships, 3 of them were on my accord, where I had to leave and it just was not healthy for us anymore. And I knew that because I was becoming someone that I did not want to be around. And I think when people talk about toxic friendships, they think that it's just one person's fault, but it is 100% a two-way street. And one of the reasons why it's so hard to acknowledge a toxic relationship is because you have to take and accept full responsibility for also adding to that toxicity. Ugh, that's a hard word. Anyways, so for example, I was going through a bad friendship towards the end of last year, and she just did a lot of things that you know, upset me. And I'm the type of person that I really don't believe in speaking ill of others behind their backs. If you have something negative to say, definitely say it to their face, and I 100% stand by that. But by the end of this toxic relationship, I noticed that I was so upset and so unhappy that I would go off to my other friends and just bitch about her, just bitch about all the things she did to me, all the ways that she wronged me. And after a while, I think I was having dinner with my brother, and he was like, Amy, you sound like a bitch. Like, you just sound like you're a fucking bitch talking about your friend like this. And that was when I was kind of like, whoa, I am sounding like a bad person, and I am judging this person, when in reality my problem with this person has 50% to do with me and 50% to do with her. I'm sure there are things that I did wrong that made her feel this way. And also, speaking ill of someone behind your back, it's like that quote, it's like, what Jenny says of Becky says more about Jenny than Becky. And for that reason, I feel awful when I talk ill about somebody and their character behind their back, because like I said, you should say it to their face. But anyways, so that is a huge indicator of how I knew that I was in a toxic relationship, because I was also contributing to that negative energy and just talking bad about somebody. And if someone is your friend, if someone is your best friend especially, there is no reason for you to be talking shit about them. Then that person is not your best friend, and you are not being the best of friend. And when that kind of clicked in my head, I was like, I knew I had to exit that relationship, because I was becoming someone that I did not like, and all the things that she did that made me upset were kind of just backfiring at me. It was kind of like an eye for an eye situation. You know, you made me upset, so I have the right to go talk shit about you to my brother or something. That's how it felt. But in reality, that is not how it is. And like, when you love somebody, you don't want to speak ill of them, and they shouldn't make you feel in any way or form so terribly. So for me, becoming a person that I did not like, you know, someone that talked ill of others behind their backs rather than to their face, is what made me realize, like, you are a toxic friend too. Like, you should not be talking shit about somebody regardless of what they did to you. And granted, I did tell her all of the things that she did to me. This is also another way that it was very toxic, is every time something that she did upset me, I would tell her. It kind of just never really got any better. I would tell her, and then kind of a similar situation would happen, and I just didn't think that no matter how many talks we had, it wasn't getting any better. And so that brings me to answering your next question. We're gonna pause for a little bit. It's getting a little hard for me to do my makeup and talk at the same time. So I got a bunch of these Laura Mercier caviar sticks. Yeah, caviar sticks, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Laura Mercier, if you're watching. Ooh. This doesn't look like an eye stick. This is like a nice pink. I wonder if they have a red color. Ooh, oh my gosh. I manifested a red color. This actually reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow stick that I have. It's called Bronze Garnet, I think. What I was saying before actually brings me to your second question, which is, how do you cut off the friendship? So I'm a very confrontational, assertive friend. If I'm upset with you, I'll just say, hey, blah blah blah, I'm upset that you did this, because I think communication is key to building a really great blossoming relationship. And I actually kind of get head crazy when I have a passive aggressive friend, because I'm like, I don't know if I did something wrong, like, am I pissing her off? Like, I wish you would just tell me. So if you're watching this and you're passive aggressive, definitely let someone know when they've upset you. Chances are they could be sorry for it, and you should let them have the opportunity to apologize. Anyways, so how do you cut off the friendship? I would say if it's a high value, high quality type of friendship, meaning if you've known them for a long time, you've shared a lot of memories together, that person 100% you owe a confrontation. You definitely need to talk it out with them. You know, give them the opportunity to apologize if they are sorry. And like I told you guys, 1 out of the 4 relationships was not on my own accord of being cut off. She actually cut me off, and I think it was greatly because she didn't let me have the time to apologize. She completely avoided me for about 2 weeks, and I think if she had known how sorry I was at the time, she might have forgiven me. But you should definitely let them know how you feel and why you're upset, because the worst thing you can do is cut off someone without really giving them the chance. And I'm all about opportunities, so once you've done that, and once you've already kind of gone over that hump and apologies are made or everything is talked out, I think from there you know whether or not you should really cut off that friendship. And for me, a lot of those friendships after I had those talks, you know, some of them were sorry, or it would happen again, or some of them weren't sorry. So that was when I kind of knew, all right, you know, I think this friendship had a beautiful season, it had a beautiful run, and it's time to move on from that. So definitely talk to them, let them know. If you're super non-confrontational, definitely write a letter and then perhaps meet up later, but always be face to face for this, because these are your feelings, and your feelings are not to be played with. Now that I'm looking at this, it's super purple. So I just picked out this one. This one is Smoke by Laura Mercier, and I'm actually gonna put this in the outer corners, and might be a very bad idea, but we'll see. I feel like cutting them off sounds so harsh, but once you've let them know, once you've had a few talks with them or one talk with them and kind of hash it out, I don't think cutting them off would be so much of a surprise to them. It's kind of like they should see it coming, you know? Also, I feel like a relationship is toxic when the length of a relationship and the familiarity of a relationship are prized over the actual quality of the friendship. So if you are thinking in your head, oh, blah 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 is not a really good friend, but we've been friends for, you know, 20 years, and what will I do without her when I'm not her friend because she's the only one I really have talked to every single day. Those things have to come secondary to the quality of the relationship. You have to know that just because you're familiar with someone and just because you've been friends with them forever does not mean that it is a healthy relationship. Alrighty, I'm taking this bronzer, the Marc Jacobs bronzer. I'm gonna just blend this shit out. I have been the toxic friend and it sucks. Alright, then we're gonna line the eyes with the Marc Jacobs gel liner. This is just a brown color. This is the Tony Moly gel eyeliner, and I do just the lid part, and then the wing I do with a liquid liner. How do you not feel guilty from it? I always feel guilty from losing a friend, and I think that most of the time it's harder than breaking up with somebody, because friends are, they typically, you know, platonic relationships typically have a longer or a later expiration date. I feel like I feel like, you know, friendships you can have for a lifetime, but boyfriends, they come and go, or girlfriends, or whoever it is that you're, you know, dating. I'm gonna dab this. This is the NARS liquid blush. It's so pigmented. It reminds me of the Cloud Paints by Glossier, but way more pigmented. So I feel like this is gonna last a lifetime. I have like zits on my cheeks, so I don't know if I want to wear blush, whatever. And moving on from cutting off a toxic friend is probably the hardest part, because if this person is a friend that you've had for so long, it's gonna feel weird to not text them every day, or you know, have someone to always hang out with. It is hard, trust me, it is hard. It kind of actually makes you closer to those who have always been around, and kind of makes you appreciate those friends, and it also helps you expand your network and help you grow as a person. This is the Maybelline Brow Define Fill Duo. I don't know, Maybelline just sent me a bunch of brow products, and this one's okay. I mainly just use a sponge to apply the excess product that was there from before. Moving on is very difficult, but I think for me, at least at that point in my relationship, I knew that I would be happier and it would be more beneficial for me to go out of my comfort zone and meet new people and really push myself to come to a new place in life than stay in that stagnant, unhappy, toxic, negative space. That's a really big sign as to whether or not it's toxic as well. Leaving a toxic relationship is never easy. It is toxic for a reason. It is difficult to get out of the cycle, to get out of that relationship, and know that you have to have the strength and have to kind of prioritize your well-being and your mental health over somebody else's. There's also a quote by Walt Whitman that really helped me out when I was going through a lot of changes friendship-wise, and it goes, "Re-examine all that you've been told. dismiss what insults your soul. And whether that means loving someone from afar or just cutting them off, I don't really believe in cutting them off unless it's a really big reason, but I do believe that you can forgive someone, that you can love somebody, that you can want the best things for them and still move on without them. You can progress in life without their presence in your life. Moving on is very difficult from a friend, but if I can do it and if other people can do it, you can do it as well. Everything is temporary. So when you're happy, that changes, and when you're sad, that changes. Everything flows, nothing stays, and you should find freedom in this concept. Let's do a lip color. This is Stepping Out by Smashbox. It's one of my favorite liquid lipsticks. Even though moving on and making new friends is a very difficult place to be at, I just want to say that it's also a very fruitful and beneficial time for you to reflect and own up to all the things that you might have done wrong, all the things that were flawed in your relationship that were because of you. And I have to say that I had to go through a lot of friendships for me to realize how to become a better friend, because like I said, toxic relationships are a two-way street. I think I had to go through a lot of those things to learn how to become a better friend, and not just a better friend, a better person overall. I kind of think it's life's tough love telling you, you know what, you're doing something wrong, it's not working out, so we're gonna make you go through this painful, weird, awkward experience so that you can become a better version of yourself for the next person. And I feel like up until this point, I was not the best friend I could ever be to anyone, and I think right now I've learned and gained so much knowledge from all of those experiences, and that I can give and be the best friend that I could be, and also just be a good person in general. So try to think of this experience as something positive. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this AM with Amy. If you have a question for me for next week's topic, this is a thing that happens every single Monday. Be sure to tweet me, DM me, leave a comment down below, and you might be featured next. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!